This is the C# hour, and today we're going to be digging into data schema migrations for a C# project. In the previous session, if you happened to see that, I'd started a project in the first episode where we had our Apache Cassandra cluster, and then we had our C# project, and then we kind of dug through. Well, we got that to work, just connected with a driver. But then I went beyond that and we looked into what a C# project looks like if you create it with the .NET CLI for .NET Core, or if you create it with the JetBrains Writer IDE. So in this session, I'm going to go ahead and start looking. We're going to do a little Googling and find out what data schema migration tools exist for Apache Cassandra that are, let's just say, C# friendly, preferably written in C#, right? Like what's out there to use. So without any more chit chat around that, let's actually get into looking for some of this stuff. Go ahead and use Google Chrome to look on Google to find Google results of said information. So here right off the bat, let's see here. Data schema migrations for C#. Migrations in EF Core, code first migrations, not super worried about that. Oh, I know what we should do. We should type in schema migrations for Apache Cassandra. You know I'm mad at my keyboard all the time, so much so that I put my keyboard right beside my mic. Otherwise the keys don't press. It's kind of like it is a Microsoft keyboard. I got a new one. It's pretty nice, but yeah, gotta hit those keys or they just don't press. Let's add in C#, see what we find. What is out there? So take a look at this one. Oh, missing C#. I want to see what's available out there. There's Redgate stuff. I don't want to use Redgate. I know there's got to be some open source solutions for this stuff. Schema migration tool for Cassandra. Topic schema migrations, contrast security OSS, Cassandra migration. Haven't seen that one before. With Trireme. Let's look at that too. Migrations Cassandra. DataStax's connect to Cassandra with C# sample code. Migrate your data. Not quite ready to deal with that problem yet. This is just the schema that I'm looking into here, which is basically the tables, the key spaces, those types of things, the data types, all those pieces that need to be built. So. Let's see here, quick tweak. Bringing the music back too. Right, so what do we got? Apache Cassandra, Google by DB Docs. Learn Apache Cassandra by example CDM. That doesn't look like. OpenStack migration of relational data structure to Cassandra. Well, that looks like an interesting read. I'm going to read that anyway. Data modeling. All right, we might actually just go with the age-old practice of write it in a script. Write the migrations in a script. So let's see, what do we got? Is there a schema versioning tool for this? Schema version example. Take a look at those. And our next result was this project, Cassandra migration, database migration evolution tool for Apache Cassandra. It's a shell script, a Maven shell script. And source. Oh, okay, there is code. That's where that was. So this one's in Java. So how do we use it? Cassandra is not a relational database. We know this. Snap transactions, right. Requirements, tested with JDK7. So this has a bunch of requirements to have a Java ecosystem put together, which isn't something that we particularly want to have to worry about having if we're writing a C# project. Java classes, Java API. Yeah, this is specifically about writing migrations in Java. It's very, very focused, so that's not going to work for us. Trireme. Alright, what is Trireme? Trireme is a tool providing migration support for Apache Cassandra, DataStax's Enterprise, and Solar. Commands are run using the Python invoke CLI tool. Yeah, Sonic, the music's pretty cool. It's pretzel rocks. You just kind of put it on autopilot and let it run. Unless you're trying to find a very, very specific type of music, that gets a little more difficult. But otherwise, you just let it go, and it plays chill streamer music that doesn't get you muted on YouTube or Twitch, etc. Okay, so that assumes that CQLSH is in the path. I don't really want to go through all that either. But will it do, the question is will it do information usage? That's one approach, I guess. Not sure if I'm a big fan of this particular approach. It seems like more work than just writing the scripts for yourself. Let's see about this. This is like an actual, just a migration itself. So we're gonna go with just writing the scripts to start with here, unless this is something. Page should say app successfully started. Your CQLSH to dump your schema and see what it looks like. Oh, this is, yeah. So not particularly a C# option here. Again, like I said, we'll go ahead and start with writer. Can I hear it when I? Oh, the music? Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't play music if I couldn't hear it. I like hearing the music. So yeah, we're gonna start with writer. Create a project, just a scratch one. Well, it'll be like a hello world, and then we'll start adding our schema migration into that. We're just going to use scripts, etc. Speaking of which, let's see what we have here currently available for our last run here. I believe we had some Docker stuff, and we'll want to basically work from that perspective, right? So we should have CQLSH installed. Okay, yeah, I just tried to run against the localhost one, like if you have Cassandra running at localhost. But I don't have a node installed here, but I do have the options in Docker somewhere. Let's see here. Oops, Docker images. Yeah, there we go. Some Cassandra images here, 3.14, etc. So let's put together a little repo of that stuff. So we'll start with a new solution. We'll create a Git repository, put the solution and project in the same directory. Yes, please. I wonder if we should just make this 100% console-based, hardcore C# app that's totally focused just on schema migrations. That might be an idea, actually. Maybe we should write a schema migrations tool. Well, let's start with a console app for sure. We'll start with a .NET Core console application so we can run it on Linux, Mac OS, or Windows. and then we'll move on from there. So we're going to start with .NET Core app 22, and we're going to call this Schema Migration Explorations. Sounds like a good name. Very C-sharpy there in naming context. And let's see. Don't want to put it in Frank's data builder. Put it in here. So we'll say schema. Oh, it'll put it in. I think it'll put it in the folder, right? Yeah, that's what this is saying. And then the solution file will be in that folder, and then the project files for whatever projects we have accordingly. So let's get that in there. Nyan Cat gets to work for me. You might have heard that the landing of my Microsoft Reactor as I set it down by the mic is a little heavy. The thing is like a rocket ship of water. It's awesome. Alright, so things running, getting started here. Oh, look at that. We already have our hello world done. We didn't even do anything. This is the beauty of like Microsoft's C# tooling and ecosystems. Even when you have something like JetBrains as your key thing, which is awesome. It's really, really awesome. So let's hear. The first thing we want to create is a way to spin up our environment easily, right? We want to be able to spool up like a test environment. So I'm going to spool up we'll work to create some Docker pieces, and then add whatever pertinent things we need post facto of getting the Docker stuff. So we're going to build the Docker images or get some Docker images, get us something started that we can work against to create this schema, and then we'll start with the schema. So let's see here. Missing, ignore from the project. We definitely want one of those. Oh yeah, we want to add it for C# or .NET or something like that. No, or they call it, I think they call it, yeah, Visual Studio. Let's do it for that. That'll cover all the .NET languages and such. So what else do we need? Anything else? I think that's really it. It's just the Visual Studio should cover everything. There's a Terraform project. That's cool. Oh yeah, because yeah. We'll have to go through that at some point in time. I thought there would be a. Let's just generate that one. I thought there would be a Docker one, but we just got this one. So that looks good. This should run, but it looks like our build is broken for some reason or another. It's just, oh, maybe I just had to open it. Oh yeah, the little thing went away. Let's debug and just run our code real quick. Get our initial build. Build completed. It's executing, and there it stops on our debug line. So looks like our editor is up and running good. So I always like to make sure before I get started that, you know, the basic fundamental things are ready for us to work with. In that context, we should get a hello world in our console. Boom, we got it right here. So we're ready to get that Docker stuff going. Now in a C# project like that, in .NET, we have our solution file, which is almost always at the root, unless you've organized your project in a different way. And then we have the migration explorations project inside of that. So really, where do we want to put stuff? My first notion is to put things at the root of the project, but that would be outside of the solution file, and that's almost not really .NET-like in organization of a project. But at the same time, our big problem here is what are we really trying to emulate? So like the old project style with all this stuff was have your solution file in the root folder directory, and then have your project stuff inside of that. But with the new way of things and the new way of the world, .NET has changed a bit to work around the premise that you may have like Docker files and root repo files that are maybe a directory below the solution file. What I'm going to do in this particular instance, though, is actually just go here into my editor at the solution file. And let's see if we can add a scratch file. Let's see, it added that in there. Let's see if we can move it down to the, nope. It forces the get ignore file at the project level. Let's see if we can go out here, show in files, and what do we get? So that's at that level, but if we go here, and look at this, here's our solution file, here's our project file, but in here the organization's a bit different. Well, we'll keep that set up like that for now. That'll work for us. So no specific dependencies. We'll want to let's see here. Let's run in. Let's add a. Can we add a folder here? System project, new solution folder. Let's add a solution folder and see if we can put our Schema Migrations in it. And then this new project existing. Can we just add a file? Yeah, let's add a file here. So Redshift, Apache Cassandra, configure data source. So here we can pick the particular SQL or CQL syntax that we want the editor to know that we're using. So in this particular case, we're going to be using Apache Cassandra, which is listed as Cassandra here. We need to get the latest driver, so let's grab that. There we go. This class it uses code style default. I don't have any other code styles. Mic explosions. So my mic's all broken. It's not peaking. So maybe let me try one thing real quick. Oh, it's not selected the right one. How about now? Oh, okay. My audio actually should be a little bit better because I did just make the local system select the appropriate mic instead of not the one I was using. Cool. All right, so back in here, let's see, we did, I thought we just did that. Cassandra, and then, oh, did I not hit OK? Haha. Oh, it didn't take the selection. Well, whatever. Okay, so we have that file. Where did that file go? So let me pick that with the. Oh, let's try that again. Let's do add scratch file. We'll do Apache Cassandra, and then let's save that. No? Oh, is that why? This is like a in-memory type of thing, I guess. So let me pick that. Well, then how do you? I want to save the file. Save the files. So maybe, can I drag it over there? Nope. How do I even get a freaking file in here? Okay, well, I'm going to delete this because that's just not useful. Oh, and I can't delete it. That's super frustrating. All right. JetBrains, you're killing me with this thing. Okay, so we'll put a file in here then. Whatever. Let's create a directory first. Can I do that? Yeah, directory. Schema Migrations. There we go. Then we don't want any of that stuff. We want a, yeah, I mean, effectively a SQL script, right? let's see, 2019. What's the date? It is April 3rd. Inception. We'll call it database inception. Database inception.cql. Add that. There we go. Okay, some progress here. And then we'll want to have our down one. So 2019, 04, 03, database, decimation. Oh, I love it. Let's see if I can rename it. Oh, I forget the frustrating pieces of this. Here's rename. Edit. Rename. There we go. And then let's get our, actually let's create another folder, and we'll call it systemic environment. Ha, big fancy one there. We're going to put that in here, and then in here we'll have, I'm kind of building this in the context of, sort of ironically for some, a monorepo. And in this particular situation, it'll probably show that C#.NET stuff is definitely not, well, it's built to be in a monorepo, but these other toolings are clearly not built in the context of how C# directories and projects and all that kind of stuff were originally intended to fit together. So you end up with some stuff that C# projects simply just don't understand or don't know about. So schema migrations, and then this one will be environment, or let's just call it database. So this will be our, here's a bash script, create, actually let's see here, dev up .shell, there we go, and add that. Then also we want dev down. Go, and then let's go in that directory, and then we'll get those changed to the right execution permissions. Cool. All right, so now we should be able to execute those. Boom. Sweet. And then in here, what we'll want to do is let's create an IP value for what we want to assign to our Docker container that's going to run Apache Cassandra, right? So we'll do, so 172 is usually a good range, but let's go with 25.z. We'll start with 2 as our main IP. And we're just going to do a single node at start here. Then subnet 172.25.0.0.16 for our CIDR. And then our gateway will be 172.25.0.1. All right. And then we want to have a network name. So what should we call it? We'll call it our migratory C#ing. Yeah. And then our Cassandra node will be our main container. So Cassie container. And then I think that's about all we need for that. So let's then create, echo create Docker network. So that's so we can give our, we create a network so that we, in that network, we can put our, execute our container within the context of that network and then actually assign it a static IP. So that's the idea there. We'll do Docker network, create subnet, and then get the subnet in there. Then gateway will be the gateway. we want to set it attachable. And then let's give it a network name. Whoops. Inserted a new line instead of auto-completing an item. No, enter should, yes, please make it complete items. All right, so that should get us our Docker network. And then we want to, let's see here. Well, we want to create our Apache Cassandra node at that point. So it's your Docker run. We'll name that as, that's your Cassandra node. Then we want to put it, whoops, in the network, which will be network name. Then IP, we'll set it to our IP that we put above. All right. Then, so we want to set a variable. For more information on the variables and all that kind of stuff on the container image, check out the Docker container image page. You can just type in Cassandra Docker and it'll be like one of the first results that pop up. But basically this is just, it'll know to broadcast from this IP and it sets it internally on the actual container image itself. And then we're going to do it interactively, drop it in the background, and use Cassandra image for 3.114. All right, I think we're there. And then let's just make it do a list for us. So we'll do Docker network in let's see, I think Docker network list, and then Docker ps-a, or actually ps should work. And let's run that and see if we get our environment up and running. It created the network, created the node, executed, showed a list of the oh, that's rad. And my machine actually crashed. Let me boot that puppy back up real quick. It's weird, Docker really crashes some stuff when you're running it in a virtual machine. It'll come back up in just a second. What did you just see, Sonic? Was there something in particular that exploded things? I think also the fact that I think I had like 5 other networks already running on there or something. That's super weird. All right, back up and running though. The beauty of doing this in a virtual machine, right? If you roast your machine, you can just restart. There we go. Yeah, exactly. Craziness, then complete darkness. I mean, just, I glow then. Glow. I need to set up some stuff in the background where it's just my head. That would be good. On the totality of the universe. You should see the black matter fabric on my other stream. That background's super cool. All right, so let's just open up this and be careful and tread lightly and see what we got. Network list. Oh yeah, let's get rid of some of these networks. Network, remove, consist net, and then Docker network, remove our migratory C-sharping. So it created the network, we know that. So and then we have Docker images. Let's see what we got in here. So let's actually let's get rid of the. Can I get rid of that one? Yeah. What? It requires at least one argument. I'm just trying to delete it. Let's do images, remove. Let's try that. Oh, I don't remember how to delete an image now. How do you delete an image? Anyway, let's look at all the containers. So Docker, remove this one. Oops, Docker. And we'll go ahead and get rid of this one too. Docker, remove. And then PS. What is, nothing's running though. Docker PS Shaw. Docker, remove. Let's get rid of some of these. Just to make it easier to Docker PS dash all. Okay. Let's try that again. We'll open up Writer. And we'll see what's up. See, Sonic, it's just blackness behind me, right? And an even bigger picture of me pontificating the darkness of the universe as JetBrains Writer starts in the virtual machine in preparation for us to automate the entire universe. Oh. I think I should do, maybe I'll do a whole, I'm going to do a whole episode that's just in that voice. The pontificate voice. Oh, it's started. I'm waiting for something else to happen, and I should know better. All right. Come on. Open this one. There we go. Flot? Oh, float. Yeah. All right, so let's manually create the network and see if we break something real quick. Docker network list. All right, so we just got the 3. Oh, let's play it risky. Let's just do it. Dev up. Show it as dev. Oh, I'm not in the directory. So schema. What did I call it? I called it, oh, systemic environment, database. There we go. Clear list. Let's go with dev. All right, are we still running? Hey, look at there. All right, so something was flaky with having too many networks, or something related to that. But it went sideways, as you saw, nuked my machine. So now I have migratory C-sharping there. Sounds like a bird migration, right? And now we want to, okay, so we have the node, blah, 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 and we're at this IP. So let's copy this and actually go over here in the editor and say add data source, Apache Cassandra. And we're going to put that in here. Port 9042 should be good. We don't even have a key space yet, and we don't really have a user and password. It's a wide open node, right? But no, it does not like that. So what is, I'm going to apply that and just stick it in here. Yes, cancel. I'm still working here. It's your 3014. Or not, I mean 3, yeah. Did I miss something? So let's do Docker inspect. Cassandra node is Cassie container. There's our IP, right? Ping 172.25.0.2. Oh, did I need to? It's running, right? I mean, Docker PS, right? Oh, it's not running. It's absolutely not running. But it has that weird. Docker still confuses me sometimes. So let's hear Docker images. This Docker PS all clear list. Let's clear list. The Docker PS dash all. Now let's hear created 8 minutes ago. Oh, let's do Docker remove Cassie container. Here we go. So now Docker PS all. Yeah, that one's gone. Okay. Let's actually go ahead and do our teardown. I'm just going to grab all this stuff and look in dev down. And what do we need? We don't really need this, this, and this. What we need to do is, oh yeah, we need these two things. And then we can just say removing Docker network. Say Docker network remove. And then network name. All right, and then let's do remove Docker container. And then Docker remove, well, put in the variable Adrian, not the name. Cassandra node. There we go. And then just to ensure that it's gone, we'll leave those two in there at the end. This needs to be PSA. Let's go back to our terminal. Do dev, cd schema migrations. Oh no, wait, systemic environment and database. All right, now we'll do dev down. Oh, funny. So it connected to it and then it realized it's gone. Okay. So our network is gone and we can verify, yep. Everything is gone exactly as we want. And then if we do dev up, okay, keep your fingers crossed. Create a new, there's the Docker container. So let's see if it's running. Looks like it's actually running this time. So let's go and see if we can connect here. Let's remove this one. Yes. And then connect to Apache Cassandra data source. And we'll go with 172.25.0.2. And then let's test the connection. Aha, success. So now, okay, we have our environment build up and tear down scripts. And now we want to build our Inception file, which will be in, not this directory, but in systemic, in Schema Migrations. We're going to do Schema Migrations now. So in here we actually need two files too. And I just thought about, this is the way I should probably be creating files in JetBrains Writer instead of through the interface. It's much easier if I just do touch and then the file name. Unless, of course, I want to create the file and have it, you know, be use the default file stuff. This is live. Disoc. I am live coding some data schema migrations for Apache Cassandra. We are at the very, very, very early stages of doing so. And welcome to the stream. Let's see here. And we're using JetBrains Writer, by the way. If you're curious which editor I'm using, I have a crazy font installed just for the system level stuff. Cool, maybe you can help us write some of these migrations. If you have any suggestions, feel free to chime in. Let's see here. So I'm going to do an up. Actually, Yeah, per what I just said too, I do want to actually use the right-click create file here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the up script like this, which is just going to be up shell, and then we'll have a down one like so. And then, let's see here, what we'll want to do here is we'll call our CQL shell. Sometimes we need to do CQL version, like 3 point whatever it is. I'm going to leave that off this time, just see if it requests it. Then I'm going to pass in a file and then run these accordingly like I would if there was a specific migration, a schema migration tool that I was using to bring this data schema up and then tear down the data schema. So I'm going to do this in order. Since we only have one file so far for our up, put that one in here. So it'll be, we're running this script in the directory that the files are. So 2019 April 3rd database Inception .cql. There we go. And then for our down, we'll want to call the other direction decimation, like so. And then we're going to run it against the IP of the particular cluster. Which is, as we know, 172.25.0.2, because we made it that. There we go, boom. So up and down should be ready to go. Let's see here. All right, so now I'm gonna mod those for execution. All right, so let's see what up does. Wow. So did it just run? I don't even know. I guess we should put something in here to execute, right? So it's asking me to change the dialect again to CQL. There we go. And since that isn't a scratch file, it should just work. But in here, let's do kind of the cheat, the way to cheat a little bit, is since we don't even have a key space, we need to do that. And in here, JetBrains Writer, the plugin for the database, doesn't call it a key space. We need a key space. That's kind of our main root thing that we're going to be putting all our tables in. But in here, what they call it is schema. So we'll call that. And you can see down there, it understands the appropriate CQL stuff to put in the command itself. So that's a big plus. But yeah, so it's a little weird like that though. So it's called add schema, but it's really, you're adding a key space, which in a sense is a schema from its context. A little confusing, maybe not confusing. I find it a little confusing. So anyway, let's call this, what should we call the key space? Any thoughts, audience, on what we should call the key space? Sandra, I wish you were. Yeah, I wish when I was first getting into Cassandra that there was a stream too. It is Sonic. Like I know that specifically just because the plugin is centered around SQL and building out a relational schema and looking at things from that context, right? Because if you look at, say, Postgres or MySQL or something like that, where, like for instance here, the key space, you got a system traces key space, you would see the database there, right? And then in the database, you would find the tables wherever they're listed under that. So You can see the direct mapping when you're using it parallel with some of the other stuff, which I do a lot of on my other stream under Adrian Hall, DSE and Spark. At some point, yes. Probably not on today's stream because I only got about 10 minutes to go on this one. But we will definitely be doing some stuff in the future on DSE and Spark and Kafka and like you name it. We got a lot of topics in the queue, so it's gonna be super cool. For the schema though, what should be the first schema name? How about I don't know. I'm trying to think of stuff. How about you, Sonic? How about Disoc or Disoc? What should I call the first schema here? Maybe cats, maybe dogs, maybe something else. Oh, let's call it maybe video collection. Oh, I'm drawing a creative blank at the moment. Maybe we should just go look on Twitter, see what everybody's talking about, and then do that. No, that's not a good idea, is it? I don't think so. Yeah, call it Sonic Damage. Oh yeah, actually that's the winner. Immediate winner. So Sonic, here's another question for you. Same thing with you, Disoch. What casing? What way do you like to name your key space? Do you like Sonic Damage or do you like Sonic Damage? Is there a suggestion? Is there a way to, write this stuff based on a particular context? Camel case guy? So like that? Or should I do something like Sonic Damage like that? Maybe an underscore at the beginning? Can I do that? So I think I'm going to go with Sonic Damage like this, actually. Okay, so note, it leaves you null here, right? So we need to set the replication, but it's a good starting point. You can't really execute it from here. The other thing that I always like to do, at least when I'm writing the schema, is I like to add the if not exists, okay? Because then you can run them independently and you don't collide with stuff that may already be in the database. It's kind of like a safety measure in a way. And this part though, we don't actually need this for the specific right, so I'm going to take that out, but I am going to add with replication and then get rid of that piece. I'll do equals replication is not the word. Replication. There it is. If I use the thing right, it would have given it to me, right? And then let's see here, class, and then simple strategy to G. Did I just spell it right? Yeah, that's good. All right. And then replication factor is going to be, do y'all know what it's going to be? Can you take a wild guess? I would watch. Cool. Well, we'll definitely have some of that, Disoch. Have it no defaulted RF1 simple. Yeah, it's not gonna. It won't even create the key space if you do that. You need to set a replication factor in simple strategy. So we're gonna put 1 because we only have 1 node. That's all we started with in our Docker container cluster. We'll cover tweaking around with that and like making a multi-node cluster on Docker. See how fast we can crash the virtual machine on that episode. It's going to be like half a second, just probably. But the poor VM, I'll run something locally and we'll do it proper. Run it, see what kind of resources we're using, kind of get a look into that container usage. But right now, all we need to create a schema is, and the schema migrations by association is this starting point, right? Just 1 node and we can get to work on it. Now, if I execute this, boom, I should get a key space. And sure enough, there it is, right? And then I can go in and table, pretty standard stuff, and it gives you the syntax for it. Helps you build the table like this. So speaking of, I guess we could go ahead and do that. But let me cancel out of that and get in this Inception. We want the key space, right? So depending on how you feel about things, maybe you want to use casing. I know with SQL, a lot of people like to go, you know, all uppercase for the actual characters, the CQL or SQL characters themselves. So, you know, we could do that if we wanted to. Oops, I keep hitting the wrong button there. There we go. So like we could leave it like that, kind of makes it pop out in a particular way. And then of course, end statement. But let's go ahead and create a table and we'll add that to everything. So create table and we'll say sonic damage. Let's hear tune ID. And let's hear, what do we got here? See, you got these things, the types, they show up in the interface, which is super slick. Let's say tune, actually let's go with name, and then there's text, and then let's go with another one. We'll say artist, text, yeah. And then release is a date. What else do we want? We want some other stuff, right? Postgres for a large part of my data for the joins. Oh, interesting. Yeah, we'll definitely talk a lot about, in this, I will be talking a lot about setting up Cassandra and setting up your data accordingly so, you know, you still have that join data. Like in Postgres, you just have it in your separate tables, but you need to denormalize it and put it in collected tables in Cassandra to be able to query against it the same way you would somewhat with a join, minus, of course, having the join. You just write a select, and then you'd be able to do a where clause or something on it. But definitely more on that in the future. What other column type do I need to add to this thing? Anything? I think that's pretty good. Let's make a giant. Oh, I don't want that column. I don't want column 6. We'll do release artist name as the, can we set it as a new table key? Can we do that? Primary artist key. We'll do that. Oh, and it lets you make all 3 of them. This is the first way I've ever tried to do this via the tool. Oh, look at that. Throws in the syntax. So I guess, whoops, there it is down here. Slick. I'm loving it. Oh, we don't have a table name, though. Let's get it a table name. Sonic damage artists. Or maybe we should just call it artists. The database is already called sonic damage. Or I mean the key spaces. So we'll go with artists. Let's actually go. No, we'll camel case this one too. Artists. And then, yeah, so let's execute that and see what we get here. Boom. There it is. Look at that. Beautiful. We got our primary key, note, composite primary key specifically, and then we got our tune ID, UID. And let's add this code in here. Oh, whoops. Just added it twice. And then do it up like we want it. Create table. Artist, and then primary key. Boom. All right, now in our drop, our decimation of this, it's kind of super simple because we don't need to worry about destroying the tables, right? We just need to wipe out the key space. So let's get, actually, don't put this yet, and I'll show you. I'll add that and see it already determined now, just because of that key space keyword, that this is Apache Cassandra syntax, right? So let's do a drop though. Drop key space sonic damage. See, it doesn't know now for some weird reason. Yes, use Apache Cassandra. Don't freak out. There we go. All right, so let's try up here. Or actually, let's try down because we just put all that stuff in there. Incomplete statement and a file. Oh, do I need to do a boop? There we go. Let's refresh. Yep, it took it down. Perfect. Okay. So that's groovy. And then we just want to create it back. So let's do up. Oh, no key space has been identified. Use a key space or explicitly specify key space. Oh yeah. You have to do this because when we're connected doing it via the console earlier, we had the key space already because we are connected to a specific key space. Like when I went in here and right clicked, like let's create this real quick and I'll show you. Up, there we go. So now if I refresh this and we look at this, we go into the key space, and if I right click here, it knows that I'm on that key space. So even though you don't see it in the syntax, it's already assuming, you know, that we're creating this table here on this particular key space. So it doesn't put it there and can execute it because it already has that context. Oh, look at that. People hooking up info in the chat. It's always awesome when there's like multiple streams of infos happening while I'm doing something in the stream. So with that, we've got our first migrations up and migrations down. We got ourselves a built Docker environment with an Apache Cassandra node running, which is super awesome. And really we're ready for next stages. But unfortunately, we are at the end of our hour. So tune in next time. Every Wednesday, we're going to be doing an hour of C# focused around building things on the Apache Cassandra database, DataStax's Enterprise, and using the DSE Apache Cassandra driver for C#. So we'll see you next time. Again, thanks for joining. And anyway, yeah, see you then. Cheers.